farmweek.com.
Connects rural routes for you. You can trust Jim every morning for your overnight markets. He gets up early to help keep farmers on top of their game. Here's a bit about his rural routes.
I have the opportunity to cover something different every day and provide listeners with up-to-date markets, news they need to do their job and be successful, from legislative issues to crop updates and weather, of course.
Be it routes or routes, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
Farm, family, food. Those three words best describe Illinois Farm Bureau. Farm. For 100 years, Farm Bureau in Illinois has represented and served the men and women who make Illinois one of the top food-producing states. Family. At the heart of rural Illinois are traditional farm families who work together through Illinois Farm Bureau. And food. Farm Bureau families are proud to grow the healthy food they provide their families and yours. Farm, family, food. The heart of Farm Bureau in Illinois.
You're listening to RFD Town and Country Partners, connecting you with the food you eat, the Illinois farmers who grow it, and the food-related events, destinations, and lifestyles that make our state great.
Hey, good day to you. Welcome to Town and Country Partners here on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Rita Frazier. Our first segment is with Landmarks, Illinois. Our guest is Frank Butterfield, Director of the Springfield office. How are you, Frank?
I'm great. Thank you so much.
Hey, listen, spring is here, so all is well, and I'm sure that there are lots and lots of fun places to see and visit here in Illinois, and some that you want to share with us.
Yeah, it's spring season. It's also the start of construction season, so we're seeing a lot of work that was dormant in the winter really get up and running, and I've been busy at work as we prepare to announce our 2019 Most Endangered Historic Places list. We'll do that on May 1st. That'll be this year's announcement. But in the meantime, some of the past sites which we've highlighted over the past couple of years, work is underway, and I'm pleased to report a couple sites that have positive construction work that's just beginning or well underway.
A building that we have talked a lot about on this program and others here on the network is the Coliseum on the Illinois State Fairgrounds. How's work going?
Yeah, this one has hit the press a fair bit recently because they are out and running trying to work and get it open for this year's fair. So I'm sure a lot of folks are familiar with it, but it was built in 1901, and it's a large 3-story oval-shaped amphitheater. It houses a show ring for horses. And can I just tell you that the horse folks love this building. I haven't heard enough about all the horse shows. I was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin last weekend giving a presentation, and the hotel attendant was like, "Oh, I show horses, and I love the Coliseum in Springfield." But a couple of years ago, an inspector saw that the structure, the roof structure, which holds that wide span, no column in the middle, building open, was deteriorating and had to close it, not allowing people in or out until they could get repairs. Meanwhile, we're able to get from the state government $10.2 million to repair that building, and so work has been underway, and they are doing rapid shifts of work, 10-hour shifts, in order to get that building open for the 2019 State Fair.
Yeah, we've been hearing a lot about it, and because of its historic value, it's not an easy fix by any means.
Yeah, I mean, it was a complex structure when it opened. You figure if you can picture it in your head how big it is, and that there are no big columns in the middle. So that's all along that roof line, the truss work up there that really holds that building up. And those repairs are serious repairs. At the same time, there's a nonprofit foundation which is also fundraising, and their goal is to do some improvements like the heating and air conditioning potentially for that building, which would go a long way in those hot summer months. That's still being fundraised, but at least the core structure, the stability of the building will be addressed by this year.
The other thing that's interesting is the renaming. There was an outreach huge on what to name the Coliseum, and there is a winner.
Yeah, there was a potential. One of the fundraising efforts was, you could name the building, and the Governor Rauner and his wife donated $1 million to the nonprofit and got the naming rights. And instead of picking a name themselves, they put it back out for a competition. So Illinois 4-H, FFA, the Junior Horsemen's Council, they all participated in coming up with a new name for the Coliseum, which I like it. It's traditional. It's going to be called the Coliseum of Champions.
The Coliseum of Champions. And they have, and I think you might have mentioned it at the start, though, they are expecting that to be ready to go by Fair Time 2019.
Yeah, as these projects go, and if folks are familiar, historic projects, sometimes you encounter something you didn't expect. So it can slow down, but if everything goes according to plan, this year's fair, that building will be open.
We're crossing our fingers for sure. Another building that you want to talk about is Ryan's Round Barn.
Yeah, this is a wonderful structure. It's up just north of Kewanee in Johnson Sauk State Park. And if you've never been, it's worth a visit because it's this beautiful, giant, round red barn. And it was built in 1910. It's listed in the National Register of Historic Places. And this was a working barn. It was to house 50 Black Angus cattle. It had an interior silo and then no columns. The silo would support that giant curved roof structure. And this is really hard to build in that sort of round shape, but it makes a really nice-looking, picturesque building on the landscape there. But this is a story of basically the value of maintenance. It was just time for it to have a new roof, and we always want to address those problems before water gets inside, and suddenly your roof problem becomes a structural problem. And so it was due up to get a new roof, but a couple of years ago, but our state budget crisis, because there's a state-owned site, just put that work to a halt. So we were worried about water getting inside the building and deterioration. Thankfully, just now, April 1st, it was announced that the building is closed because they are doing the re-roofing project right as we speak.
Very, very good news. And it's listed, was one on your list. It was one of the most endangered lists back in 2017.
Yeah, once it needed that new roof, and then we saw nothing was going to go through with the state budget crisis. In 2017, we decided, we need to highlight this. And, these are both the Coliseum and the Round Barn are like two parts of the same story. We have state sites that are hitting the sort of critical where they're structurally getting questionable. And then we have the general maintenance. And we always say it's better to fund the maintenance when you're, $100 problem before it becomes a $1,000 problem. And your $1,000 problem before it becomes your $1 million problem. And so hopefully we'll also see fairly soon a capital budget where some of these great places can be fixed up before the repair bill becomes too high.
Any guesses on how long this project will take?
This should only take a couple months. It is an odd roof, that sort of round curving structure, but it's not all that different from a normal roof replacement, and, everything else seems to be going quite all right there. There's no major structural repairs that are needed, so it should be reopened this year.
Awesome. Anything else on ongoing construction before we touch on the 19 most endangered historic places?
We just see projects now kicking up across the state, so, I always encourage folks to let us know, what you're seeing and hearing. We'll see a lot of work done this year. We have a new state historic tax credit, which will push projects forward, historic projects. So it should be a busy year.
So you teased us early with the announcement that's coming up about a month from now, May 1, announcing your 2019 most endangered historic places. Do you have anything you could share with us today about that?
We are very secretive, and we don't want to let, the cat out of the bag too early. But you'll see, as we typically do, you'll see sites from all across the state. And this year I'm very excited, too, because we have a great variety of types of sites. We'll have one this year that really focuses on industrial heritage. So these are buildings, I would say, aren't going to be beautiful like the Round Barn on the green lawn where it just looks like it could be on a calendar. These are more the hulking workhorses of our state, the ones that were important for the means of production that we excelled at, agriculture specifically in Illinois. So we'll see something very interesting in industrial heritage on our list this year.
Now, once the list is published, then what?
You'll see when we announce the list, we'll have ways to take action. So this becomes a high priority for Landmarks Illinois, but we also invite people to help us support these places. So we want to bring resources to bear to help save these places. We're not just listing and walking away, but we're trying to empower the locals to come up with the tools they need to save these places.
We have about a minute left on this segment. Do you have anything else to add? And then, of course, we want to send them to your website because there's so many stories and lots of pictures there.
Just one example of way we bring resources. Last year we had a Route 66 site that we were able to get an engineering firm down there to do a free conditions assessment and show how that place could be fixed up. So an example of how we're sort of putting our money where our mouth is. But all of those resources you mentioned, everyone can find at landmarks.org. Great stories there of how we're working to save places all across Illinois.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to that, and we'll be talking about that endangered list for this program a month from today. We will talk again with Frank Butterfield, director of the Springfield office of Landmarks Illinois. As Frank mentioned there, the website is landmarks.org. Stick around. We will have a destination and food destination exciting program for you later, and we'll talk about that Bacon Fest in Chicago with the Illinois pork producers, all coming your way on this edition of Town and Country Partners.
When it comes to social media, Sabrina Berkowitz connects rural routes for you. Sabrina covers a broad range of ag topics, so Farm Bureau members are the first to know about key issues. Here's a bit about her rural roots.
I grew up with a grain and livestock farm in my extended family, and today I really enjoy helping people learn how to use social media to advocate for agriculture.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
Clean water matters to all of us. For years, farmers have been calling for clean water and clear rules because we know it's possible to have both. Now is the time to make your voice heard. Text WATERS to 52886 and support the new clean water rule proposed by the EPA and Army Corps. Don't wait. The 60-day comment period has begun, so text WATERS to 52886. Contact your local county farm bureau for more information on clean water and clear rules.
With some farm, family, or food-related Illinois destinations you might enjoy, I'm Mike Orso with RFD Town and Country Partners. If you happen to be around the Botanical Gardens in Palos Heights, the College of DuPage in Glen Ellen, North Central College in Naperville, or even the Mercer County YMCA later this spring, summer, or fall, you might want to seek out their pollinator habitats.
We see a lot of parks and colleges getting involved there in Illinois.
Becky Langer serves as the project manager for the North American Bee Care program for Bayer. The company has awarded nearly $40,000 in grants to those Illinois schools, organizations, parks, and others to increase bee and butterfly forage across the state.
Some are doing more garden accents, if you will. They're installing pollinator patches within maybe existing gardens. They're putting in native prairies, which are larger parcels of land, which will contain kind of mixtures of grass and wildflowers to allow a more wide open field. The Mount Carmel High School FFA, this was a particularly interesting one. It was a student working to complete her supervised ag experience during her high school years, and so she was working with a local younger school and a family farm to introduce pollinator meadows, and then was going to work to educate the community on why that work was important.
Bayer Bee Care recently reached a milestone when the company made a grant for pollinator habitat in Alaska, marking efforts in all 50 states. The company also boosted its bee health research efforts with outside entities to $1.3 million.
We know that the varroa mite is the number one enemy of honeybees. This is a pest or a pathogen that's very specific to honeybees, It is like a giant tick that attaches to the bee and transmits a lot of viruses and bacteria. And so a lot of research, both internal and external, bear anyone across the nation interested in honeybees is probably looking at how we can control that varroa mite better.
And what can the rest of us do? Langer says if you're using pesticides, follow labels. Mix up your trees, flowers, and vegetables so something blooms spring, summer, and fall.
Herbs are huge. Mint, sage. They like all of the herbs, really, but the key is you have to let the herbs bloom. Some you can't just trim them just for cooking. You've got to have a blooming part of that herb plant. Cosmos are extremely popular in our wildflower mixes. Clover. I know some people like to keep clover going in their yard. Clover is a big source of nutrition for the bees.
The U.S. Department of Agriculture notes a small drop in the number of honeybee colonies last year, though Langer says the 20-year trend shows overall bee numbers climbing. For RFD Town and Country Partners, I'm Mike Orso.
When it comes to our members, Chris Magnuson connects rural routes for you. Chris leads Illinois Farm Bureau's efforts to provide valuable information to our members. He has spent 2 decades with IFB. Here's a bit about his rural roots.
I grew up on a farm with corn, soybeans, and Christmas trees. I've been in ag communication for 3 decades now. My greatest satisfaction has always remained the same, to serve our members.
Be it routes or roots, RFD Radio, FarmWeekNow.com, and Farm Week keep you connected.
Warmer weather means a longer honeydew list. Your county farm bureau can help you stay on top of your project list and save you money along the way. A Farm Bureau membership offer includes discounts on equipment and supplies from Grainger, plus free shipping on all standard Grainger products. Browse thousands of items from landscaping equipment to power tools. Anything you need to get the job done, Grainger has it. Not a Farm Bureau member? Call us at 309-557-2689. Or visit Illinois Farm Bureau online and join today.
Hey, we're back on Town and Country Partners. Now, we promised bacon conversation, and by golly, we're going to deliver it. The Lost Yankee.
Oh, boy. By the way, before that, happy National Burrito Day. That's today. Yeah?
Are you a burrito fan?
It all depends on if I have control on what's in it. Then yeah. If I'm in charge of the refried bean distribution, good word. Yes, that would have a big difference.
All right, well, happy to you. Happy Burrito Day. Yeah. But now the bacon thing. Now, when you cook bacon at home, now I am the chosen one. I have 2 good cooks in the house. My husband's a great cook. My daughter's a great cook. But when it comes to preparing bacon, I am the chosen one.
Is that right?
Because I have patience with nothing else, but I can fry me some bacon.
Now, what's ideal for you?
Oh, I like kind of a medium.
Okay.
I don't like it so crispy that it falls apart.
Okay.
I don't like it hammy or fatty.
I grew up with hammy and fatty. Yeah, but hey, there was a piece of bacon waiting on the table for me.
Wow.
I'm not going to turn that down.
Right. Now, did your mom do that for you? But when you came down for breakfast?
This wasn't every day. This was more of a weekend or maybe a summertime thing. When I was younger.
I get you.
But not every school day by any means.
But there in Chicago. Now, I remember a few years ago when Erin Cleary worked for Pork Producers.
Oh, yeah.
And she had the brilliant idea of, joining efforts with this Bacon Fest. She also was the one that came up with the idea for Pork Producers to offer bacon as a menu item in the pork patio.
Oh, nice.
This is why I love Erin Cleary.
Sure. The Bacon Fest Chicago event has its own, you can find it on Facebook on events, because chances are if you're in Illinois, you know someone who said they were interested in going to that, so it'll show up in your events calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And Bacon Fest has its own website, baconfestchicago.com, which, by the way, dinner tomorrow on the 5th, lunch Saturday on the 6th, dinner Saturday on the 6th, with VIP hours and general admission. It is ridiculous what people will pay for events like this. Because you got to buy a few drink tickets, and you buy a few of these other things.
You have to have a bacon martini.
Oh, for crying out loud. Wow.
Sabrina, our business manager.
Yes, runs the show here.
She texted me that the best part, you saw this too, the best part of bacon is the fat, she says.
Wow.
I didn't know this about her.
I did not either. I did not know that either. And with these bacon fests, like you just mentioned a martini.
Yeah.
Have you ever had, they'll put bacon, a little maple, and you can put it on a muffin. You put it on donuts. You put it, of course it's great by itself. You wrap it around pieces of chicken, and now you've got a whole new thing.
Right.
Which the pork producers have that. They did that last year where they wrapped it around a little piece of pork, and it was
Baconator.
Phenomenal. The Baconator, yes.
So
Not
what's
bad.
your favorite? So now here, we almost need a drum roll to ask DeLosh Yankee. What is your favorite way to eat bacon?
That's a good question. If you, how about this one? How about bacon wrapped meatloaf?
Yeah,
you ever done that?
I have, and I like it.
So if someone could bake me a bacon wrapped meatloaf, they'd go pretty quickly to the top of the list, wouldn't they?
1701.
And that's a tough one too, because meatloaf. We've talked about this before. You go to different events. Like this is athletic banquet time and awards time, and you have the pitch-ins and the big dinners and all that stuff, and you never know exactly what you're going to get out of meatloaf.
Right.
But
Now,
it's wrapped in
let
bacon.
me remind you, you must know a little bit more about the person who prepares the meatloaf, because many times we're in there with the hands.
Oh, it's total hands.
If I don't know what your hands look like on a daily basis, I'm probably not going to eat your meatloaf.
Dirty fingernails and meatloaf aren't going to go together, or anything like that.
No.
Yeah. Chapped hands, anything like that. We got to know what we're doing here. And this was like for us, these events, no one's wearing rubber gloves or no one's doing that kind of stuff to make meatloaf.
Right.
So meatloaf, you had to know.
Right.
You had to know who was coming.
I guess the answer to that question for me would be a BLT.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I think give me a BLT, a fresh tomato from the garden, a little salt, bacon, mayo, real mayo, not Miracle Whip.
Did you?
And some good.
Not just sandwich spread or anything like that?
No.
Did you talk to Gary Wilhelmi on a regular basis? He was a guy in Chicago Board of Trade who would call stations
that name sounds familiar.
Had a he would talk regularly about BLT season.
Oh.
And that was a time when you'd find a boost in hog futures when it was BLT season because there was such a demand for bacon. But I don't remember when that was. Was that Memorial Day? Is that the first of spring?
Boy, we need to find out.
Because you have to have the tomato from the garden to get it, so it can't be too early.
That's right, DeLoss.
That sounds like a real narrow window in there.
I think I see and sense something coming this spring. A whole show. Maybe we'll give a little tease. Maybe even in the summertime.
Yeah.
When you're out and about around the state.
I'll take the bacon wrapped meatloaf.
Well, and
I'll bring you a BLT.
You'll bring me a BLT. Hey, thanks for giving us a little bit of a preview for Bacon Fest. If folks go, they may look for you.
In fact, you could look for me and buy me a couple tickets for bacon or whatever comes with it, too. That'd be just fine.
Hey, thanks to all of you for joining us for this edition of Town and Country Partners. For DeLosh Yankee, I'm Rita Frazier. Have a great day.
Thank you for joining us for RFD Town and Country Partners. Get out and enjoy Illinois.